welcome to American Baker in Germany, where the ingredients are German and the baker is American. I'm Michelle, and today we are making a two-tiered baptism cake. It actually ended up being kind of like 3 tiers, but we'll take a look at it anyway, so let's get started.
I started out frosting all the cake layers. I was told that my friend who I'm making the cake for was expecting a lot of guests at her son's baptism, so she wanted a big cake. The bottom tier is 9-inch lemon cake with lemon Swiss meringue buttercream. I was concerned about this buttercream because it came out very soft. I think I didn't heat the lemon curd long enough, so it was quite thin. That's my bad, but we tried to make it work anyway. Every other tier, I first made a cake board to support it out of cardboard covered in aluminum foil, cutting it to size. And the board I'm assembling the other tiers on are all washable and temporary because I will eventually be stacking the cake. The middle tier is a 7-inch vegan chocolate cake and frosted with milk chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream, which turned out perfect. The final tier wasn't really meant to be a tier originally. It was supposed to look like a Bible on top of the cake, but as I thought about it, Bibles are quite thick. So I decided to make it 2 layers, which is why it ended up being a third full tier after all. This is also vegan chocolate cake and milk chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream. I chilled each tier after frosting it the first time, and I frosted each tier once again, chilling it again. Then I rolled out some white fondant and covered the bottom tier with it. I smoothed it on with my fondant smoother and my hands and cut off the excess with a knife. I chilled each tier between working on it. Then I rolled out some sky blue fondant and covered the middle tier with it. I smoothed it on with my fondant smoother and my hands and cut off the excess with a knife. Now this book cake is a bit more difficult. I rolled out a thick strip of white fondant and used a few wooden skewers to press these lines in the side like a thick book often has. I wrapped this white strip around 3 sides of the cake. I trimmed it to size, which was quite difficult because the buttercream wasn't completely set, so it kept sinking into the side at the least bit of pressure. Then I rolled out some dark red fondant that's meant to look like red leather. I made it using red and brown food coloring. I rolled it out and cut it as close to the right size for the book cover as possible. I laid it over the book and the size was nearly perfect. I trimmed the corners to be rounded and tucked in the ends. Now it's time to stack the cake. I pushed wooden dowels into the cake and cut more lengths the same length and placed them around the area where the next tier is going to sit on it. This, plus the piece of cardboard under each tier, will hold up the weight of the next tier. I placed some more buttercream the same flavor as the tier underneath and placed the next tier on top. Then I do the same thing with the next tier. You may need to clean up the edges a bit like I did. Now I want the buttercream between the tiers to harden before I try to decorate it, so I'm going to put this tall cake into the fridge until I feel that the buttercream is more stable. In the meantime, let's make some decorations we know we're going to need. I started out rolling out some blue fondant and cutting out the name of the boy getting baptized, Leon. I used a fondant press mold to make the word Bible, but my black fondant was extremely sticky. I tried adding powdered sugar to the mold to keep it from sticking, but that didn't work. Eventually, I added Tylo powder to the fondant and powdered sugar to the mold, and finally I was able to make the two words like I needed for the cake. Then I rolled out some white fondant and cut out some doves with a few sizes of dove cutters. So far, all of the decorations were requested by my friend, each color, each word, each dove. But still, I need the turntable, so I cleared the decorations off of it and went to get the cake out of the fridge. I placed the name on the bottom tier. I placed the word Bible on the book cake, once on the spine and once on the cover. But before we place any doves, we need a bottom cover on the book. So I rolled out a snake of red fondant and curled it around to be about the right shape. Rolled it out and trimmed the middle part to be about slightly smaller than I think I'll need, because it will stretch a bit when I pick it up. And I placed it around the bottom of the book cake. I used edible glue to stick it to the cake and trimmed it to size. But the corners droop. Gravity is a thing. So I put a little ball of red fondant under the corners to keep it from drooping. But I also had a little gap on the spine, so I covered it with a little piece of red fondant. Next, I'd like to cover the bottom edges of the tiers. I rolled out a strip of white fondant and wrapped it in pieces around the bottom of the middle tier. For the bottom tier, I used a pearl border mold to make some pearl borders, trimmed them to size, and placed them around the bottom of the cake. Finally, I placed the white doves on the middle tier. This cake was an absolute monster. It made it to its destination in one piece, and my friend was very happy with it. Congratulations on your baptism, Leon. For more cakes and tutorials, visit our website at AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe for a new cake every week. Hit the notification bell to be the first to know when we upload a new video.